is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin IT podcast. Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I am making it. Andre.
Oh, I'm doing good. Just preparing for the coming week for work, but otherwise good.
Mm.
Yeah. It's getting that time. We're finally into the latter half of the year. So about to shoot October next week. Also, that reminds
That's
me.
crazy.
Deadpool and Wolverine Tuesday.
Oh,
Streaming
really?
and digital. Yep.
Oh, hey. I know where I'm gonna
Cinematic greatness. Cinematic greatness. The best intro in all of theaters, all the theatrical theaters this year. I don't know how you sit there and make bye popping, but
Hey.
they found a way to do that.
They did it.
So much so that if you go on YouTube and look up the bye video, instinct that changes to from Deadpool.
Horrible.
Awesome ass movie. I love that movie. All right, so before we get into our Q&A tonight, Jack, what you been playing?
I have been playing Echoes of Wisdom, which is pretty interesting. I was playing Plucky Squire, and now I can't play it anymore. So yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with that. I mean, I reached out to the creators. There's a portion in the game to where you have to get like this platform to stop moving, because once you tilt the book, it'll go like fully around to like a certain section. So you got to find a way to like make it stop. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can just take like the little block that I had to hold the button down, put it on my cart, and then, or put it somewhere to where it can stop. As soon as I put it on that cart and tilted it, I start seeing it warp like this, and it went straight to the center. And I've reset the game. I've gone back pages. I can't get it to reset. So it's just stuck in the middle of the page, and you need that block to hold down the button to make the cart stop. So I thought it would reset after I turned the game off, something, but nope. As soon as I go right back into the game, it's sitting right there. It has not moved.
Okay,
that's a game-breaking bug.
Yeah, well, they ain't the only one. There's another one that kind of halts progression in the game too that I haven't run into, but I've seen other people run into. But other than that, I started playing WWE 2K24. What was it, yesterday? Me and the boys went and got another Xbox and got super lucky because the Xbox we got used came with the Elite controller too. I was
okay.
That is
definitely shouldn't have happened. It's $100+ controller, and it came as if it was a standard. The only thing I had to do was buy the accessories, which was like $20 on Amazon, and it's got the little flaps and the sticks, and yeah, so it was a good pickup. But we've been playing that in Party Animals because that's something they love. Like, they love Party Animals. So those are like the 3 games that I've been playing at this moment in time, and I haven't been able to jump into the Metaphor demo yet.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that. That reminds me. Let me go and do that now.
Yeah, because I got the demo, because I mean, really within 2 weeks, Sparking Zero. That's what will be occupying my time. So
yeah, man, dude, that week is crazy. Do you know that week of October is crazy?
Ridiculous.
Just
depending
that
on
week.
your taste too, because even like I'm gonna hold off, but I'm looking forward to picking up Undisputed, the boxing game.
Yeah,
and it comes out on the 11th too.
Goodness.
It's the week of the 11th and the week of the 25th. The last week of October and the second week of October don't make no sense. If you, it's gonna be
got too much stuff going on.
Too much. So, Andre, what about you, man? What you been playing?
Funnily enough, I was actually playing 2K23 because I just recently got that one. Mostly because I wanted to see if they improved from 22, and then I plan on getting 24. I'm catching them on discounts.
I got this one. It was like $34 at GameStop.
Catch them on discount because I'm not with how this, not how 22 came out. I'm not taking that risk. I'll do discounts and get the DLC for a lower charge too. Nah, I ain't. No, I'm not giving them the chance at full price again. It just ain't happening.
Okay. Well, me, y'all know I've been playing Echoes of Wisdom. So that goes without saying. So I've been hearing people talking about their slowdown. I have not experienced slowdown yet, so I don't know what people are talking about.
I have in the desert.
I've seen videos of it. I've seen videos of it. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not as like everybody's making it sound. It's like a minor hitch every now and again.
Okay, because I haven't. Now I'm in the desert right now, and I haven't ran into it.
So the way that people describe it, you would think it was like chugging. Like,
yeah.
does it slow down? Yeah, like because especially with the sandstorms and when you get to the boss in that
Depends on how
area.
much is going on.
Yeah, because like the boss in the area, when he starts throwing those tornadoes at you, it can happen in there too. But yeah, it just depends on where you are. I mean, now would I prefer for it to stay stable? Of course, but it's kind of similar to Link's Awakening. They perform more or less the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. Then that's the engine thing. That's with the engine. Because even with Link's Awakening, I only had it happen one time close to the end, and that was it. Like people were trying to Digital Foundry will make you think that the game is unplayable. That's why I can't stand them. I'm like, dude. And the reason why they were saying it because once again, if you're in the West for some reason, Nintendo needs to have either Switch Pro or tell me about the successor right now because I said so. And I'm like, dude, I see what you're doing.
It ain't gonna work.
It's not gonna work, dude. So don't even try to do that.
They're gonna announce what they're gonna announce when they announce it.
Yeah, you can't make them do what you want them to do. So stop trying. But that being said, I've been playing Renatus as well. That came out Friday, and I've been playing through First Descendant. I'm back on that, working through that because I haven't done in game yet, and we got that first thing out, and I need to try out Heihachi Mishima. I got to get back into Tekken 8 because Heihachi dropped.
Okay,
I want to see how him and the Dragon Balls that was used to bring him back.
What? So okay, where do we stop with the revivals? Like this
I don't know, man.
It's getting to comic book levels now.
Yeah, it is because there's supposed to be a story mode that goes along with Heihachi. So I want to see how they explain this. I really do. I'm like, how y'all explain this? I would love to know because I played through Tekken 7 story.
We all watched.
He died.
We watched
you die.
We watched Kazuya punch him into the chest until his heart stopped.
Yes.
So I'm like, how did he survive? What revived him? Is he now like Jinpachi? Is that what they gonna say? What made him come back? Or is this a fake Heihachi? Is he a clone?
I'm hoping this fake Heihachi. That's what I'm praying to God.
If it's a clone, I'll let it pass.
Yeah,
but
if this some down, oh yes, I'm just so strong, and then I just no, you ain't.
At that point, we need Raven to blow him up again.
Yeah,
blow him up again and confirm him dead and call it a day.
Was Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition break up Ganondorf into 5 pieces and lock it in the chest? That's what they're going to do to him. But and I played Chaos Reigns, Mortal Kombat 1 expansion.
Okay. How was that?
Here's the problem. Like Mortal Kombat 11 story-wise was like so good.
You felt spoiled.
Yeah. I got spoiled. To be honest, I got spoiled by Tekken 7 story, Mortal Kombat 11 story, and there was another story I got spoiled by in a fighting game. And I'm like, damn, man, they actually doing a good job with these fighting game stories.
Surely it was not Street Fighter.
No, it wasn't Street Fighter. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember it. If I pull out my Switch, I'll know which one I'm thinking about. But Mortal Kombat 1, I'm like, okay, y'all trying to do this multiverse stuff, and
they should have stuck to it. If they wanted to do that, they should have waited for the next game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I get the soft reboot, but they shouldn't have made it multiverse. They should have just said Liu Kang recreated. He's Fire God Liu Kang, and he recreated
this universe the way he wanted it to be.
Yeah, and then you have old girls Shade trying to, Spoiler
honestly, they could have gone the Killer Instinct route.
What?
Where you have Gargus basically trying to wipe everything out to recreate the world the way he wants, and having shadows pop up.
Yeah, I mean, because it's the Shade of Chronica. Spoiler alert! It's the Shade of Chronica that starts the whole thing off.
Yeah,
so they should just keep it like that.
They definitely should have just pulled from Killer Instinct at that point. Then,
yeah, instead of doing this timeline and this universe and that universe and this universe,
you make it too convoluted.
Yeah, and now I'm
Right.
confused. I'm just straight up confused. So I do like Cyrax and Sector. I love their move sets. I haven't got a chance to play with Noob Sabat as much as I would like to. Because I ain't gonna lie, dude. I actually like Behan in this. I know he a sadistic asshole, but I kind of like Behan in this. Him and Kuali Yang. I like Sub Zero and Scorpion in this because like their rivalry makes sense. That's the like the. It's a shame that the best part of that sorry ass movie was Scorpion Sub Zero, and the best part of this game is Scorpion Sub Zero.
That's
I mean, well, the best part of Mortal Kombat has generally been Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
true.
Yeah, but like it ain't been like that movie just pissed me off just for the simple fact. Once again, this is one of those times where I remember me and Mrs. T, we saw that trailer, and then we saw the director talk about it. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna put back in all the fatalities." I'm like, he don't know the story, do we?
Mm-mm.
And me and Mrs. T were like, nah, he don't know it. We watched that movie. I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't go to the theater to watch that. I would have got pissed off if I
don't
went
even
to that
remember if
theater
I
and saw
went.
that.
I'm trying to remember. Did I go to the theaters to see that?
Because remember, that's when WB Max, they put that junk on they put that movie on Max and out in theaters. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to the theater. I watched it on Max. I'm like, outside of the first 8 minutes and the last 10, that movie was horrible. That movie was horrible. The best stuff was with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and that's because they had the big homie, big homie in there is Scorpion. Hiroyuki Sanada. So I'm like, yeah, dude, that's why this movie damn good. And I'm like, Hiroyuki Sanada and Joe Tam from the Warriors. I'm like, yeah, ain't So yeah, I don't know how they got a part two, but apparently they got a part two. I will not be watching that either in theaters. I'll wait till that will come to streaming.
There's got to be like this big substantial difference.
Yeah,
because I mean the main character didn't make sense.
Yeah,
how they got their powers didn't make sense. It was they were forcing it. I don't know.
They broke all the rules of the tournament before the tournament even started.
Right.
Like the tournament has rules.
Like I said, the only thing I liked about the movies really was, like you said, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and then also Kano. Like,
oh yeah, he was just funny.
Yeah, Kano was funny. Like I just that was my thing.
They went and found an Australian that was actually hilarious. They were like, "Look, we're gonna find this crazy ass Australian and ask him can he act. Give him some beer before he come on set and let him just talk."
Right.
But sir, we have a script for him. Just let him talk. Just let him talk.
Well, I'm telling you, that he was needed because that movie was what.
It was rough to get through, and I'm like, bro, well, we need avatar for the viewer. I'm
no,
like,
you don't
you have him. His name is Johnny Cage. Why isn't he in this movie? Where's Johnny Cage? Out of all of this, where's Johnny Cage? That's why I'm like, the first one in '95 is still the best one.
Yep.
That's sad.
I'll even put Annihilation over this one.
Because the '95 movie, is they basically plagiarized Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon, but
hey, don't worry about all that.
Hey, it worked. It worked. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Like that one, I mean, that one in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990. Those are still the best in their series.
Right.
I don't make the rules. I just watch the movies. So, all right. So tonight we got our Q&A. So, we got some questions in our Discord. Let me go see if I can find one because I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Now, of course, y'all know how we do our Q&As. There is gonna come a time when we're gonna start asking the chat questions. So, chat,
be prepared.
You have been warned. All right. So, first one up. Let's see. Okay, this is from Dark Sun Rider. I don't know if he's on yet, but he asks, how much longer do you think it will be before Sony goes full third party? We all know they've been bleeding money for years, and it's going to be even worse now since they don't have the Call of Duty rights anymore funding them, and that title being in Game Pass day one. Do you believe that is a move they make?
Ooh. Hey, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
What's up, Debo?
Sony go third party.
I mean,
Now
they got that.
remember, they still do have the rights to, well, they still have that deal with Marvel for Spider-Man. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's still for another 4 years. I think so.
Is that okay? So with that
That's across
deal,
movies and games.
so even with that deal, let's say, yeah, they have the rights to it. Do they have the rights to put it where they want to put it?
No,
No.
no,
Oh,
they
so
don't.
it has to be on PlayStation.
Yes.
So how did the PC thing work?
I forgot how that works because I got to look into that because I
Okay.
think they only
I think they had to
'cause it,
do something individual for those
yeah,
games to make that happen
Mm,
because
because
that
it's
that took a while for
yeah.
those to
So
be
to kind
moved
of like
over.
meet a sales number type of thing, probably. Okay.
yeah because I'm pretty sure
There's a
Marvel is
contractual agreement somewhere in there that gives them room for if sales don't meet expectations.
because I'm pretty sure Marvel did not like that game cost the second one cost $200 million. I'm pretty sure they didn't like that. I'm pretty sure Marvel did not like that. So
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's becoming a problem
Mm.
for Sony. Like y'all
yeah,
spending too much on game development to not make enough money back.
See, third party, third party.
Goodness.
because we already know Microsoft is damn near 1 foot already into that. So
Yeah.
Them
No,
jokers is both
Microsoft
legs
already
now.
they look they got both feet in.
yeah,
They already feet first in the water. They just gotta move into the deep end.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Sony
just
Sony sitting there on the edge testing the water with their big toe.
yeah. About to say
Well,
Xbox is spending the night. They ain't fully moved in yet,
yeah.
but
Well, okay.
They got a toothbrush. They got a toothbrush in your bathroom.
So for me, I think it hinges on a couple things. So at the beginning of the year, if y'all remember, Sony, the president did come out and say that they are going to retool and relook at how they spend because dude, they gave up Sony
hmm
Japan Studio. They did, which was
yeah,
stupid. So they did say that's why I was surprised when they did this whole PS5 Pro thing because I'm like,
Wasted
y'all
money.
spent money in R&D to do this. That's a waste of money.
I would assume
So
that was in the. I would assume they had that on the table already. I would assume.
well,
I
either
don't. I
that
don't
or
think
they
that was
already
a.
had parts. Either that or they
Yeah,
already had
yeah,
parts they're trying to get rid
yeah.
of. I don't know. But it's still
Either way,
dumb.
that's still wasted money.
Yeah, because you have to market it, and you already see what happened with that 30th anniversary edition. They let scalpers just go in and grab the mugs.
Wipe
I
that
saw
out.
one dude, one scalper got the junk up for $35,000. I'm like, if anybody buy that, they're a dumbass.
Right.
But I think it all hinges on how this gen goes for them. This current generation goes for them. If they're not making, it's already not looking good. If they're not making the money, there's a very good chance during that PS6 when they hit 10th gen, they're probably gonna see a whole lot more PC. Oh, this can't run on nothing but. They're gonna stop saying that, and it's gonna be like in small letters available for PS5 Pro, PS5, and whatever Nintendo got.
PS4.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll see that. So
So my guess
what
would
I think.
be it would have to be at the end of next gen.
Mhm.
The reason why I say at the end of next gen is one, I foresee them taking their full bet on all digital next generation. The PS5 Pro was already showcasing like they don't have no problem saying, "Hey, here's a digital only console for like our strongest console." I mean, I understand that they released a digital version of the current PS5 base model, but the fact that you didn't even give a disc version for the Pro and you also have an attachment, so that lets me know like, okay, going forward, here's the 6, and then also here's the attachment that you can buy separately. So I think they're betting on digital. They're also betting on. I think they're still fighting that fight with the cloud service, which is not really doing all that great as far as what I've played. Especially when you talk about like having the PS Portal, with that being dependent on remote play, and then also to their IPs. So, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, I don't think we're going to see anything new from Last of Us next generation.
No, they're
Uncharted.
gonna remaster it. They're gonna remaster it.
Anything new.
Remastered.
We're not getting Uncharted anymore. Astra may push forward. Spider-Man, I don't know what that deal is going to look like next generation. Wolverine, I don't know what that's going to look like next generation. And then Ghost, depending on how this does, will be dependent. So if you're looking at them going third party, I think it solely depends on how those games perform next generation. because you can only get it on a PlayStation Store. You can't get those digital games anywhere else. So they have to perform well, but then also too, they have to have IPs to go third party. Like if you're getting rid of all your all your IPs, there's no way you can go third party. So unless they plan to just make some brand spanking new ones.
That was what to
And
say.
yeah, I mean that's to me that's nuts. But yeah, I mean to me, I said at the end of that one, so we're sitting quote unquote in the middle of their generation now. We'll probably see the 6, I believe, in like 2026. I think we see the 6 because they're not gonna let Nintendo sit around that long.
They should.
So let's say 6 years after that, yeah, so about 2030-ish, 2030 plus. Yeah, so I think we'll see it around that time frame if what I'm saying happens. Like I just don't think they can continue to remake or try to reinvent the wheel with these new IPs. And people are starting to see, okay, we get it. You're trying to make cinematic stuff. And if you're bleeding this much and you're not getting enough return, then yeah, at some point you're going to have to go day and date with PC at least. And if you're going to even entertain doing AA products, they know it's got to go to Nintendo. Like it's got to go to Nintendo. So,
dude, let go Horizon. I did not see that coming, but
Nobody did.
Nobody saw that, at all.
Because I'd be damned if they do a Lego Mario game. That shit ain't going nowhere but Nintendo.
Not even close.
Not gonna happen. So yeah,
you gonna be smart. Look, they're gonna have the whole collection of Lego games.
Yeah,
I bet you that
Mario ain't gonna be in it for any if it goes anywhere else. But
no, that's what I'm saying. Nintendo's going to be the ones ended up with the whole collection of Lego games. They will have everybody's, whether
that's where it sells,
Sony or not.
Especially when you think about stuff like Just Dance. Just Dance sells on Nintendo.
Even though it's on the other ones.
Well, where's my question?
But, my opinion is they'll probably. I'm figuring by the beginning, honestly, of the next generation, they probably going to do more of what SNK was doing, have it on their console and whatever other platforms they feel the game fits day and date. I don't think they're going to wait too long because they're losing too much money too fast. And on top of that, like you said, the R&D for the PS5 Pro was wasted money. That could have been used for making software. And you know that you already doing R&D for your PS6.
Yeah, so
why did you need a Pro? And you already know that the PS4 Pro didn't sell all that great. So why would you even go through the trouble? At this point, it's just doing it for the sake of doing it. And then you, as much as people want to try to cover it up, I know for a fact there's going to be these games coming out on the Pro that's going to have either performance with fidelity, and then you still going to run into the same problem of, you can have 4K at 30 frames or 1080p at 120 frames, but you can't have both. You can, or you can't. You can barely squeak in some 4K 60 for some games, and that's if their assets aren't that big.
Right.
So it's going to still be more of the same thing that you're paying extra money for. And there's no way that they're going to release a new console for the next generation and then skip putting games on the current generation console. And I still think that PS4 is still going to be around, getting games.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 100.
It's still going to get games.
It's what, 120 something million. Of course, you're going to still have it.
Yeah.
That's why I never understood.
PS6.
No, but that's why I never understood why they kept saying only available on the PS5. That's why I was like, I gave Microsoft props about that when the pandemic started. They were like, look,
told you straight up,
it's going to be on our family system. We're not even going to lie like that. Sony kept trying to lie like that, and then because now what? Pathless is on the Switch. It's another game that was day one on PS5 was on the. I thought it couldn't play. That's what I was told. So I'm like, yeah, y'all don't. I'm like, this ain't.
Their budgets are too high because of the fact people don't get it. Like you introduce newer technology, that means you spend more money using it.
And you don't perfect it because you went in bed with third party, so you don't perfect your stuff. They keep telling you we need more power. No, they don't.
They need better coding techniques.
Yeah.
That's their problem. They need better coding techniques or to stop using the same game engines for every game that they can't improve upon.
Yeah. Or just do like Omega Force does and just do Dynasty Warriors.
That engine is horrible.
And they refuse to change that mother.
That engine is horrible, but they still pushing it 20 years later. They're
Look,
like, nah, we still got some juice in this. Nah, we ain't giving this up.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in Omega Force's head office when they be like, so sir, we got a couple new projects we want to work on. Is it a Warriors game? No. Make it a Warriors game. But sir, we need to move past it. What did I say?
Like, sir, can we build a new engine? Why? The
Why?
one that we have from 20 years ago still works perfectly fine. Why?
Right.
Why would you want to
you
waste
see this
money
game?
building a new engine?
Look, we got McDonald's at home. We got McDonald's at home.
You see how good these look right now?
You want things to run stable. You want things to run great.
Look, the slowdown is
Bougie.
like Bethesda's nostalgic glitches.
There you
get
go.
rid of those now.
Look, how many times can you sit up and actually say you beat down 1,500 people with a twirl move? Do you see the greatness? Do you see the greatness? So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I think that's going.
Yeah.
Dark Side has another one here. We've seen a lot of Nintendo IP do their best sales on the Switch. What Nintendo IP that we didn't see on Switch do you think will get a crack at the new system to see if they have a breakout moment? If
Metroid.
Metroid, yeah. I think Metroid is going to be fine because a lot of people got exposed with Metroid Dread. So,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of people was talking about Prime, telling me about how Prime is, and then when Prime Remastered came out, the truth came out. They never played Metroid Prime before, so
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
yeah. So I think, to be honest, if there was one, there's two I would like to see. Kid Icarus, either do a port of Kid Icarus Uprising or a brand new game, and Star Fox.
Yeah, I was about to say Star Fox and Metroid are my two. Like that, and well, I can't even say it did bad. Because bad is subjective. But I think it could do better with ARMS. Like they could do a lot better.
Yeah. They need an actual story though. They need an actual story mode. Like that is one that, like, it's interesting. I love the interesting concept of it, but you need a story to go with it.
Right. And I will say I'll be the minority in this. I feel like they copped out by giving people controls, like to be able to play that game with controller, like with buttons.
They should have did.
They should have left it alone. Like if you don't like it, so the fuck what? Like this is how we intended for this game to work.
Because that is how they intended it to work.
And then really people complain, and then they added control, the option to use controller, and then we should have options. No, some games are made the way they're meant to be made, and yes, you don't like it at first, but if you at least give it a try and try to master it, you will understand that's how it should have functioned.
There's two games that was on the Wii U that's just like you said, Star Fox Zero.
Yep.
You didn't want to try it. And Xenoblade Chronicles X that for some reason a lot of people won't port it, but that game didn't sell like that. So how the hell you played it?
I would even say Wind Waker.
Wind Waker Twilight Princess.
Do not put Wind Waker on the Switch because it's now a downgrade from the Wii U version.
Yep, it is.
But so I mean that's where I feel like those three could really get a resurgence. I like you said, ARMS needs a story. Like there's no one knows those characters other than the crazy crap they were doing with Twin Tail, and then of course Min getting into Smash. But yeah, I mean, get a story with it, flesh it out, give us more game modes, make those game modes a little bit better, because I know like the like the little volleyball one or whatever it was, that was the basketball, that was a pain in my ass. So yeah,
I like the best one.
Flesh those out. But I will say, I know they'll probably still put the controls in there, but leave it to where it's motion. Like if you can't handle the motion, you don't like the motion, oh well, it is what it is.
Go play something else.
Thank you.
Go play something else.
I'm sorry.
All right, Andre, what about you, man?
Oh, for me, I'm picking a couple that's a little bit off people's radars. Custom Robo for one, because it hasn't seen the game since DS.
Yeah,
should have another game. Yeah,
throw that in the or let that be a special machine in the next Daemon X Machina.
No.
Dang, I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say
if I was gonna pick anything for that, I'd pick the mechs from Virtual On for that. not
Oh,
the
okay. Oh, yeah,
not the ones from Custom Robo, because this is take a little action figure, throw it up against a Big Mac. Come on now,
That's what I'm saying.
that's not fair.
For comedic purposes,
That's
for
not
me.
fair. That's
For
not fair
comedic
at all.
purposes, for me.
But then also the next game I would say is Punch Out, because like Arms, being able to box people, but being able to do a rapid fire would be a
So
lot more fun, especially if
question
you have a
for
mode where
you
you
on
can play
that one.
Mac versus Mac.
Question for you on that. What do they need to do with Punch Out? Because I feel like you can't bring it back with new fighters and leave the same setup the way it is.
Because it's basically a rhythm game.
That's all it is.
You can bring it back with new characters, but at this point, one, give Mac a deep laid out story.
Okay.
Actually, at this point, I wouldn't even want Mac to be the main character. I'd want him to be the final boss.
Have him be make it where he's the
champion. Like you're playing as somebody else coming up, trying to get to his level.
Yeah, and got to make sure we have at least one scene in that last fight with Samus in the crowd talking about round 2 at my crib.
Somebody, it doesn't listen.
Trying to get him canceled.
It can't be Samus, but it can be Sammy. Sammy is in the back with him being his promoter.
They both Nintendo characters. They can be Samus.
But you gotta understand, Samus is a known name through the galaxy. She gonna be undercover. So she gonna be Sammy.
I still think that's like one of the funniest things to come out of Smash 4.
Yeah,
the whole Samus and Lil Mac side story. That's the funniest crap I ever seen.
Okay, because I always look at Punch Out, whether you talk about like the Mike Tyson or Super Nintendo one, the Wii one.
I like the Wii one.
I like the Wii one.
Yeah.
So like the characters are always fun. They're always creative. I just think they need to add some different mechanics to it, because it seems like it's always very straightforward.
You know what? Ready to Rumble. Mix Punch Out with Ready to Rumble.
Ooh.
That could work.
That could work.
Yeah.
That could work.
If y'all remember Ready to Rumble, and especially Ready to Rumble round 2.
Yeah.
That could, you mix that, give an actual story mode to it. I don't need Rocky, but I just give me a story mode. Yeah, that could actually work.
Yeah, because to me, I mean, I get this is how the game is, but behind the camera, only moving left, right, down, like at some point you got to change that up.
Now you could probably do that like as a nostalgia thing, like a special mini game or something.
Right.
Or a workout thing to be like a mini game or something like that. But I don't need Spike Lee writing it. I just need funny. Because like Punch Out, you can't make Punch Out serious, because then it's not fun. Right. It got to be fun. Like one of the things I loved about the Wii version was the little vignettes they would put for the different fighters, like Glass Joe being weak as all hell. Von Kaiser, you kind of side-eyeing him a little bit. You're like, bro, I know you German and everything, but
right.
Piston Honda being silly, what I'm saying? King Hippo, like I like the little vignettes, but if you can make a story around it, I think that could actually work. Yeah.
Hey. I mean, at that point, then also having the ability to use different characters, because Lil Mac, cool, but hey, let's switch this up. Because I would say the same thing with Star Fox. Like, using Fox, but I would like to use, the other characters. Like, and then make them have like these different abilities. One's faster than the other one. One shoots faster than the other one. Whatever. One's more of a tank. You got to add some more personality to the games outside of the enemies that you fight. But
true.
Yeah, it's got to change up. But yeah, I agree. I mean, they got the IPs there. It's just they can't bring them back the same way that they currently stand at this moment in time.
That's true. What's up, Shadow?
What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing good. Okay, so let's move right along. All right, Dark Void had a question here. Let's see. Let me get to the question part. All right. With the next gen Switch on the horizon, do you think it's disingenuous to compare the next gen Switch to the PS4? The reason for this question is because I'm seeing a lot of big outlets and tech YouTube channels, saying that the Switch 2 is going to be comparable to the PS4. I wonder where they got the information from. But the current Switch is currently running PS4 games. This is very true. In your opinion, where do you think the Switch will be placed at? Because I feel that the Switch 2 will be compared to RTX graphics cards because of the DLSS that's going to be in the console. Also CDI. Why did you put this in CDI, dog boy? All right. So, Shadow, you want to handle this one first?
Nintendo makes bespoke hardware and bespoke games. So, if you're talking about Nintendo games, then all bets are off. You don't know what you're going to see. If you're talking about third party games, look at the laziness that's happening right now with PC, and it's the most powerful hardware out there. So whatever you're seeing on PC with the most powerful graphics card, or you got a 4090 out there and you're barely seeing 8K games, even though that hardware can do it, then you know what to expect. So that much I'll tell you. I don't know why people think that there's some magical trick to any of this kind of stuff. And you shouldn't want any of the things that they're telling you that you want anyway, because the upscaling is upscaling, which means that you're rendering at a lower resolution. I thought the whole point of having all the teraflops means that you could run it at the resolution that is designed for.
There you go.
Upscaled 4K is not going to look more crisp than native 4K. So why do you care about upscaling to it?
Good point.
So that's the thing. Like, I want to see which console can run 1440p the best and then upscale to 4K. How about just native 4K, since that's what they're designed to do? Well, it's 8K on the box behind me, but just do that. At this point, you got gamers that are dealing with 800p here. So if we're gonna deal, we can do 800p, and it's okay because this is not a Nintendo box. Then why do we care about any of this upscaling or any of the resolutions? Like, just games, man. Because none of these buzzwords are fitting any of the demands that they asked for previously.
Right.
Before, it was all about having fill rate or having the teraflops so you're able to do more things on screen and fit a certain resolution. We found out in retrospect that none of the 7th gen platforms actually ran in HD. The majority of those games internally had sub HD resolutions. So the goal was for the platforms after that, PS4 and Xbox One or whatever, was, hey, well, these can really do 1080p. Still, those games were sub 1080p. You got 900p games, and then some of those get ported to Switch and are actually 1080p. So if that's the case, and then now you got 1080p games on a supposed 4K console, what are we gonna do? What resolution do you think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be on the base PS5? And supposedly PS5 has all the teraflops, right? So what's the point? What's the point? That's the true thing. And the developers aren't going to use this hardware the way that they should, because the hardware that exists right now could do it. But the way that these people are developing these games, they don't care. Right. You only need around 64 to maybe 96 megabytes of RAM per frame for a 4K frame buffer. And we're talking with double buffering and all the other kind of stuff. All the rest is choices that the developer makes with textures, assets. What are they doing? What's the stuff they're doing in RAM that are either CPU bound or GPU bound? So if you want a 4K game, it can happen. It could have happened on last gen hardware. They just chose not to do it. So it really shouldn't be the hardware that you're looking at or looking forward to. Is what the people that make games, because consoles don't, what they choose to do with it. Yep. And I'm just going to tell you right now, third-party publishers, they're cheap because capitalism rules this industry now. So I wouldn't expect much. If you're gonna want to know what's gonna look good on this system, is going to be stuff that Nintendo does or whatever third-party exclusive deals they have with partners. Otherwise, I wouldn't expect much. You're going to get, I won't say sloppy ports, but you're not going to get. I don't think Switch's successor is going to be lead platform. They won't, because they don't have. Nintendo's not going to pay the money hat developers to come over there, and the ones that do, they're not. They're going to listen to the other people that pay to publish their games.
Yep.
Sony will cut a check and say, we'll publicly publish your game and market it all the time. Just mention our platform every time that it's in an ad.
Yep.
Nintendo's not going to do that. So if you're planning on buying a Nintendo platform and expecting it to be treated like a Sony platform, I would say
you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not, either you haven't been paying attention the last 15 plus years, or I don't know what to tell you, because if you're thinking like that, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That is not gonna happen.
Nope.
Like this right here should be what people wanted a Switch Pro or a Switch successor to do, and look at how they treated it.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh well, yeah, it's got a wrapper, so whatever games we make for PC, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
Yeah. Like
That's pretty much it.
the fact that Valve has to go out their way and say, "Oh, have a category for like great for deck." Like they have to go out
Deck
their way.
verified.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I shouldn't have to do that. Like you should.
They should be
really
made
working.
for Steam Deck.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean to the question too. It comes back down to apples and oranges. Like, granted, yes, is DLSS and you got the PSSR and FSR and all this other stuff, but you're still looking at x86 versus AMD or NVIDIA, excuse me.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
they're not the same, but I get it because the masses look and say, okay, well, this is what the graphics look like on this. So let's see if we can compare this in some kind of way. And even then, like Shadow said, it really wouldn't even matter because now you're starting to see they're going the route of AI. They're not even going to take the opportunity to optimize these games. They're just going to let AI work it. So, so they're not even going to try.
It's about to get worse because I
already know.
If you thought drag and drop instead of right into the metal was bad, it's about to get way worse. It's about to
get way worse. And then what made it even worse, something that Jay, you and Shadow always said, look at the wattage when you talk about it. So if we're talking about a hybrid console, you're still not going to do that comparison because you're looking at from like the Steam Deck, 15 watts. The Switch was like 10 or 11 watts. The PS4 is going to be doing a lot more than that. It's just what you're going to be talking about as far as output. So yes, you're going to see the comparisons of PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S and what it can do. This just if the game looks good and runs great, that's where you should leave it. Simple as that. Or at least compare it to the Switch, not a PlayStation or an Xbox. It's stupid.
And can we stop listening to Digital Foundry?
That's never going to happen because they give them fuel to go and argue for something that they otherwise probably didn't even buy.
Yep.
Can we just confirm that they're an advertising agency now? Can we just?
They should.
They pretty much are.
Should be, yeah. I mean, because you got they come out and say something, and you're like, people listen to it. And I'm like, bro, y'all didn't even. You can tell they didn't even play the game. They didn't play it.
Yeah, you can tell they don't.
You can tell they don't play the game. I'm like,
so to our new followers that didn't understand what was said on Twitter about this, a long time ago, approximately 10 years ago, Mario Kart 8 came out on Wii U, and this same outlet for Eurogamer complained about the game having 59 frames per second and one copied frame. Then at the time, Nintendo was doing a couple of games this way. A, because it saved on fill rate, and number two, the NSTC standard was 59 frames per second. So if they're developing for the majority of US customers then at the time, they're going to fit the resolutions around the world. So you got 50 hertz in the UK, you got 59 here, 60 in Japan and China or whatever, right? Okay, well, sure. Japan's not going to care. The only people that care about this stuff is in the US. And as long as we fit their standard, they shouldn't really complain because look at NSTC. Your TV doesn't even show 60 frames per second now because your broadcast standard is this, right? So
they stuck at 24.
They complained about one copied frame. And here we are, year of our Lord today, 2024, bragging about a PlayStation branded version of AI copying and regenerating fake frames for you, and talking about how crisp they look from the native resolution that's 1/4 of that. Yeah. A copied frame is still a copied drawn frame of the full resolution of that game that it was supposed to be. You're talking about a downscaled resolution being copied and upscaled. And now we're bragging about that for every frame of the game, not just one. So which one is it? Make it make sense. Do we care? Do we care about every frame being native and real and more crisp? Or do we care about what the latest buzzword is and how cool we think it looks because it fools our eye?
You already know how that
and,
go.
and if that fools your eye, a copy frame fools everybody's eye. If you tell them that's 60 frames per second, the average person,
They ain't gonna know.
No person is going to know unless you use a frame counter. You're not going to know that one was copied. You'll see like a delay here and there, but that's more CPU bound and memory bound than it is actually the frame being copied. So it's just one of those things where you start to see the writing on the wall as far as like why they exist. And I think I talked about this long ago, but console wars are a brand.
Yeah.
And if they don't exist, then the conversation that we're having talking about, well, will Switch to be able to do this? Will Switch to be able to do that? What about Xbox and Sony and doing this or whatever to keep you engaged? And number one, giving them clicks to talk about the console war. And number two, to give free marketing to whatever buzzwords they want to give you to say, hey, we're participating in the console war. Because they can't really sell you on the games for whatever reason. Buy this hardware. Buy this hardware and then buy 3 games the entire generation because you know they're the heavily marketed ones. Your GTA, your Madden, and your Call of Duty, which is effectively what happens every single generation since 2005. And that's kind of the market. They know it, so they have to give you some type of story to go along with because they can't just. These games don't come out. The other games that come out on these platforms don't just grab attention like Nintendo franchises do, and they know it. So they other Nintendo trying to make them a part of whatever they're doing their own thing over here or whatever, and not keep them part of. You know, even when they say, "Hey, this generation is based on this," and then when the Nintendo platform does it, they're like, "Oh well, yeah, we're not going to count that. We're not going to. It doesn't matter. It never matters now. It's when words start changing, when you start talking about fidelity and image quality, you just because fidelity magically left. Now it's image quality. That's these overused words that happen all the time. A long time ago, intuitiveness used to be a thing when people that didn't know how to play games got mad at a game and they didn't want to review it, so they would say, "Well, this game isn't intuitive," and you know, a year later or so, somebody does a retrospective and said this person was an idiot. This game is great. But that's what they would say about controls and stuff like that. They didn't understand. Yeah, they'll say, "Oh, it's unintuitive."
Starbucks Wii U.
User error.
Man. I'm like, bro, I saw how many times did we see that? I'm like, man, my nephew who was like 7 at the time loved this game. Like it only took him like 5 minutes to pick it up. But it's your grown 30-plus-year-old behind can't damn. Okay,
it's all applied. It's all applied. Like I would say this: I purchased this thing because I have a PC that I'm using right now. Right, sitting in front of this to play games all the time is a pain in the butt. Yeah, it would be great if I could just play them on this sometimes and not have to do this. I already got spoiled by Wii U, so like I want to be able to do. So when I saw this, I knew this is the reason I wanted to get this thing. Other people were fooled because it has the teraflops. It has the thing. It's better than Switch, and I'm like, well, I hope you're not just buying this because you think it's better than a Switch because it's got to play.
You know that's why they did it.
Switch games and.
Because content creators told them about Yuzu and also told them that, you can play PC games, but didn't explain you're going to spend more than probably like a few days trying to find settings on how to get this damn thing to run properly.
Yep. Prior to this podcast, this has been updating. I haven't used this in probably like maybe 4 months now. So it's been updating almost the entire time I was setting up to get on this podcast. So there's growing pains to deal with that, and those aren't really advertised. Correct. It's more, hey, what's the sticker? What are the bullet points on the back of this box that we're trying to sell, and what do they get out of the deal too? Because it's a handshake. They're going to tell you this stuff, and then guess what? The games or the system themselves, they're magically going to have a whole bunch of ads on whatever site it is that they're on, that they're hosted by. I guess apparently now IGN owns Eurogamer now, so IGN is going to have articles with whatever platform that they're promoting at the time.
Yeah,
wow,
that's what's happening. All right, let's move right along. Zodia, he asked this: what was the worst generation for each of the big three? That's a good question.
The worst.
Mm.
Well, for Nintendo, it was last generation.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you think?
Well,
It was the
Well,
worst one for them sales wise,
Sales
market
wise,
wise,
yeah.
yeah.
marketing and
Marketing
sales
wise,
wise.
yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
but
As far as games, I say for me it's 64. I didn't care
I
for
think
64.
64 had the least amount of games for any platform
But the
that continued straight through.
but the bangers they had were actually bangers.
Oh yeah, they
It
were
wasn't that
bangers.
many, yeah. But it
My
wasn't.
my thing with 64 was the things I remember the most are third party.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, because even when you talk about the bangers, like yeah, we had Mario 64, but then people say Mario Kart. I actually like Diddy Kong more than I like Mario
Yeah.
Kart.
A lot of people like Diddy Kong more than
Yeah, a
Mario
lot of
Kart.
people do like Diddy Kong more. So
So-
I would say that.
As
I-
far
yeah.
as far as like maybe I want to say overall probably as a business and it being probably the most hectic, it's probably going to be fifth generation.
Mhm.
Because N64 was ready, but it wasn't ready.
Correct. Yeah.
I think they really wanted N64 DD to come out like the
They
winter
did.
that the
They
system
wanted
launched.
it to come out.
And it wasn't ready. Then
I
they
still wish that would have been launched over here because in
Yeah.
Japan it just seems like they got the concept, but they weren't willing to invest in the concept. Over here, I think it would have been successful.
and it had no support outside of the third parties they had already signed on.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, like them getting to license, nobody wanted to sign on to license. The N64 DD in general probably was expensive to develop.
They
Then in
want to make some
addition to
money like
that,
that back then too. So
and we're forgetting the gateway drug too. The gateway drug to N64 was supposed to be the Virtual Boy,
Yeah.
which is also hella R&D,
yeah.
parts, materials, and all that. Then the marketing, and then the thing was done within about 18 months. So you had that in addition to not knowing what to do with the Game Boy Color, which wasn't color then at the time, to eventually move on to GBA. So it was a weird transition for them. They were trying to figure out what the pillar was going to be. It was basically DS before there was DS. It was like DS without the success. And they were trying to figure out what to do going from there. So Game Boy Advance eventually picked up where it left off, and N64 had internal success. But I'm pretty sure there was a lot of internal strife as well as far as getting projects done, getting development tools out to partners and stuff like that. Like Factor 5 once again had to reverse engineer the N64 so other studios like Capcom could have games published on the system. So that's I think that was probably the most hell on earth Nintendo probably had as far as getting 3 platforms to be spun up at the same time versus everything else after that. Everything after that was 2-pronged for the most part. GameCube and GBA were kind of
I only knew one person that had one of those. One.
So that's I got my youngest son finally saw one when we went to an expo. And I want to eventually get one again, but I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that. So
right.
I think probably for Microsoft Sony probably would have been 7th gen. 360 and the PS3. Yeah. The reason why I say that is because remember PS3 had the melting HDMI cables. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
They did.
360 had the red ring of death.
Development was expensive.
Yeah. So I think that was there from that standpoint because yes, they sold, but they also didn't really make profit because that HDMI melting, dude, that joint happened in the GameStop I was in. We were like, man, y'all smell something burning? We look at the display model. That thing was that. So they had to pay out for that. And I forgot when the money came up for the Red Ring, wasn't it close to like $2 billion?
Yeah.
They had to pay.
It was 2 to 3 between Sony and Microsoft. They spent about $8 billion the whole gen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, they kind of that was theirs. Now, yeah, they had some bangers, they had some good games, but the problem, and then on top of that, you got the Wii selling 100 mil, and they a standard definition console, and they like, how the hell?
Wii sold 100 million, and then you had DS sell 100. What? 100,
So really,
50 something like.
Yeah. So now you're looking at like what 200, about 255, somewhere between 250 together. Because
Mhm.
there's no company called Nintendo DS. It's all together. So I'm like, dude, and then so if I'm Microsoft or Sony, I'm looking at them and I got a measly 80 mil over here, and
I mean, Sony did decent. Sony did decent because
They came back at
on
the
the
end.
back
Yeah.
on the back half.
Back half of it.
The
On the back
PSP was doing pretty decent for that.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't support the damn thing. I swear,
They
like,
stopped supporting it.
So look, PSP and Vita, I'm like, Sony, if you support it, people gonna buy it. It's a good handheld.
You mean this thing right here?
Vita, they outright
that
lied
became like everybody's go-to for emulation at some point.
Yeah,
Like
it
I was in my room like with grown men's PSPs, like setting it up so it can play Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo.
Yep. Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, they were like, there's nothing else I can do with this because the UMDs, the proprietary stuff. I mean, like they just were burnt out.
The battery so bad.
Yeah, the battery was bad. So I mean, everybody just went and just modded the damn thing. So it was what it was. But yeah, I would say 64 Nintendo for me. For Sony, I give it to the PS3, and then for Xbox, I'll give them the Xbox One for me.
Talking about Xbox One or OG Xbox?
The Xbox One.
Xbox One.
Okay.
Yeah.
The roughest generation, like as far as a gamer playing, that's tough though, because I found something great out of all of them.
Oh, always.
You can find some great everywhere.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, Shadow, I think it really was fifth, because fifth, like, for every good game you found, there was like 10, 12 that just sucked. Like, for instance, I look back at Dreamcast, right? I love Grandia 2, love Resident Evil Code Veronica, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Crazy Taxi, Ready to Rumble, Run 2. But then you got Draconis Curse of the Worm.
But then you got
that game was better on PC.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you get like a couple, and then you had the next 3 or 4. And back then we weren't getting games like we're getting now. So you would be waiting. So I mean, and for like Nintendo for the 64, Resident Evil 2 playing on that thing, being playable with all the codes and stuff. Please put that on the NSO. Please, Capcom. On mature side, please. But that one, you got Perfect Dark. I ain't even counting GoldenEye, because GoldenEye was MGM's when you think about it, really. But Perfect Dark was theirs, was Rare's. Diddy Kong Racing.
Yep.
I mean, and of course the GOAT, Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The greatest
Bad Fur Day too.
The greatest 15 frames a second ever created. The greatest 15 frame second game ever created.
That's crazy when you think back on that.
I think for the time, Conker's Bad Fur Day was probably one of the best games that Rare made.
Oh yeah. Especially with the shots they took at pretty much everybody, and then on top of that, because just like now, Nintendo's a kiddie console. Really?
Uncensored.
It was a roller coaster ride. Plus, it was either Rare's first or second self-published game. And they took every risk possible. Yeah. So,
and then when it goes to Xbox, that's heavily censored.
Yeah.
But
which made no sense.
We keep saying Nintendo's the kiddie console. Yeah, okay.
Made no sense whatsoever.
Everybody's had their round of censoring.
It's hard for fifth generation because every issue that I had, like the lack of RPGs on N64, right?
Mm-hmm.
PS1 had those in spades. Like I don't. It's hard for me to find. I can't really. And then the Sega Saturn had a lot of gems too. So it's kind of. I don't know. I want to say it might actually be the Holy Grail. Unfortunately, fourth generation, as far as like games go, because a lot of the games were the same. I mean, a lot of the games were different, but they were the same as far as like ports went. Because everything just tried to chase the arcade. Yeah, and a lot of times the arcade version was better anyway.
Yeah, like
generally,
like the X-Men and the Turtles in Time arcade was actually better in the arcade than it was actually on the SNES and Sega. So but then you have stuff like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse should have been in the collection. Capcom, not Punisher, but that's another story for another time.
I still find that funny. The dude had that whole argument with me over nothing.
Yeah,
because I just said those two games should have been included.
Yeah.
Mm,
How dare you,
man, that's they should be there.
Yeah, they should be there. I need to play the Punisher one. I haven't played it yet, but the Tekken Tag Tournament first one was better, way better in arcade. Samurai
Yeah.
Showdown 4 and 5, way better in arcade. So yeah, there was that. Yeah, I can see that. Still the greatest gen of all time. Still 6th gen though. 6th gen, the best gen.
Because it started with Dreamcast.
Yep.
And Dreamcast is like, yeah, you have a better version of Soul Calibur in your house now. Like, yeah,
basically.
And it took off from there because all the arcade games were pretty much either the same or better on home consoles.
Yeah. And the sad thing is people won't be able to give it credit because a lot of people didn't have it, but that started with Saturn.
Yeah, because so, I just wish Sega was better ran back then. But
if Sega had better management,
if
they
only.
had better management,
if only,
they can make a comeback.
And we didn't have an idiot say, "Hey, we're not going to localize all those games from Japan and bring them here." That would have done so great.
And now they're struggling trying to find it so they can throw it on something. I'm like, okay, good luck with
They're
that.
getting the arcade versions when they had the best home console version available.
All right, let's see. This question here, this was on your post, Andre. I hope I'm saying this name right. If I'm butchering it, I apologize. Go Giton 199. He asks, diminishing returns on the console power rate seems to be stronger than ever before, where high budgeted games and promises for 4K 60 FPS are killing every major gaming company except Nintendo. Does anybody think gaming media will still otherize Nintendo and the Switch 2 as a sort of side platform to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC after, let's say, the Switch 2's second year, even after major third parties and franchises like Call of Duty are confirmed to fully support Switch 2?
Yep.
I can answer that immediately. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, in the West. Let's put it like
over here,
in the West, they're going to do that.
Well, we're going to always preface that the stupidity we're talking about is the West. But that's just what it is. But yeah, they will. They will.
They're going to do it no matter what. And either way, even if you run with that logic, if it is the secondary console for everyone, for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, then who's selling the most?
Correct.
So there's always a goalpost move for them. When Nintendo had more capable hardware than PlayStation, it became, well, this is the kiddie system.
Yep.
Oh, and the mini disc.
When Nintendo had the best selling hardware, it was like, well, this is the weaker hardware. Right.
Yeah.
That was true for the PlayStation and PS2.
It can't get these games. It can't run these games. Then when Switch came around and it did both, it runs said games and it's selling well. Oh well, it's a handheld. Plugs up to the TV. Plugs up to the TV, dude.
So either way, what difference does it make? You still using it the same way?
Yeah.
There's always a thing. They literally lied. Wii U told everybody everything.
Yeah.
Because that system was literally designed to say, hey, look, all you guys that are really, really hell bent on making a 360 game, it's super easy to make here. Also, this hardware is way more capable. And also maybe you guys should stop using CPU bound SIMD stuff and use the GPU instead. And the developer was like, we're not doing that. 1 year later, PS4 came out. Yeah, we're doing that. So
but we're going to pretend we couldn't do it for the Wii U.
Yeah, exactly. Literally that. What the CPU is weak. We need a lot of SIMD on the CPU. Then these tablet CPUs came out for PS4 and they magically were able to do it.
Yep.
So it's always the relationships of third parties and the amount of influence they have on game publishing. Because they spin the stories, or then at the time they had the power to spin the stories. Now they just pay YouTubers or quote unquote influencers to talk, or game journalists to have their own podcast and then go and influence to spin the same narrative because they know they've lost the plot with regards to print media and online media. Like people would just rather go watch their favorite streamer instead of them. So they know they've lost the plot with that. So they come up with the fake, hey, I'm an influencer thing now. And they just pay those people to do the same thing. Or they have they stream some type of award show or whatever and magically come up with categories that don't fit other platforms for whatever reason.
Or change the categories from year to year.
Yeah, change the categories from year to year. We don't want to put this game in the same category as this one because we don't want to give this platform this much coverage. So we'll make the cutoff date this year, November. The next year we'll make it December because we want this other game to fit.
And the next year it's going to run to January.
Yeah,
we'll do the whole calendar year like it should have been 2 years, 3 years.
They'll write around whatever the publisher pays for them to do.
Yeah.
So that and Nintendo doesn't play those games, so they'll never be part of that game.
Which is why it was so satisfying and hilarious when Jeff called himself going to call out Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony at Summer Games. I'm like, bruh, you did this to yourself.
Yeah.
You did this to yourself. And look, Nintendo still don't care because they dropped their direct 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
They still don't care. Like, you did that to yourself and you refuse to see that you did it to yourself. And even Sony, who for some reason you have this odd love affair with, they ain't even show up.
Right.
So when you talk about the power envelope and stuff like that in the game or whatever, when that was the story against Wii U, did Nintendo up and admit that, or did they have a response? Because Iwata had a response. What did he actually say? He said there was a huge misconception about the capability of our machine. We know we designed it. So our job is to make games to prove that it does what it's able to do.
Well, I remember Katsuhiro Harada going on Twitter at the time and basically saying him and Kamiya was like, hey, the Wii U can do way more than y'all think it can do. We're actually telling you it's not a bad system. Then you'll have anonymous EA senior engineer says that in IGN pull up was a whole 2 articles from talking about how it's not a good system. It don't have this, and this. And then you have Harada and Kamiya put their names out there and just straight up say, no, it can do this.
Yeah. Just need to know how to use it.
Yeah.
Now, there you go.
I will say this, and now y'all, I know people that have seen this platform, y'all have heard me say this a lot of times. The Switch is still the biggest FU to the entire gaming industry.
Yeah.
Because basically the Wii U when the Wii U dropped with all those features they had, that thing was amazing. Especially if you're a fan of fantasy football and basketball, because it had the best ticker in period that I've ever seen. The TV app was way better than it should have been at the time. So they took all that stuff out. Gave people one thing they said they wanted is they want to be able to take it everywhere. Okay, we'll just let you take it everywhere then.
Yeah.
You didn't want virtual console, so they gave us a subscriber service. And people say, no, we wanted a virtual console. Y'all did not say that.
No, said you wanted what they gave you.
Yeah,
everybody said they wanted gaming Netflix.
I don't have folders. What happened to the music in the eShop?
Y'all said y'all ain't like that. Y'all said y'all ain't like it. So basically, you're telling me you don't know what you want.
I mean, that's very obvious when you look at the name and space in the first place. But but even when you look at, no matter what Nintendo does, is one thing that they're not going to do. They're not going to pay for your attention.
No.
And so therefore, that's where Sony and Microsoft comes in. And then also, too, they're not, how can I put it? They're not sexy enough for them to be sold. So when we look at this console war, or even if you look at IGN or whoever, they can find buzzwords to sell you. They can find ways to kind of push you into that direction to get you to come and view. I mean, we've all seen the more or less the higher subscriber count content creators. They tend to go a negative route with a lot of what they put out there. So when we talk about a console war, if anything, a lot of content creators can kind of put Nintendo in their own lane. So now you have to continue to talk about Microsoft and Sony because that's the war at this point in time. And PC kind of sort of gets tossed in there, but I think that's more of like the fan base, just kind of like the PC master race ordeal. But Nintendo's not at that point to where they're willing to entertain. And even with Miyamoto saying just this week, like, don't put us in that. Like, I don't want us in those console wars. We're not going to route of AI. This is not what we're going to do. Just don't put us in that. And they want to stay in their own lane. And they got mad. Like,
saying that. Like,
and because people want to be able to fuss and argue about stuff. But if you look at just kind of what we've constantly talked about, we're getting diminished returns. At this point, graphics can't do anything else. Like
Nope.
the game should be running flawless at this point for as much hardware as we're talking about. But even then, we're now going a software route with AI. So now we factor all of that in, and you say, okay, how did the Switch succeed if all that happened, Jack? They changed the form factor. It was something appealing. It was something interesting. That is what gamers want. They want
And
something.
It was cheap.
It was cheap. Like they want something different. They want something new because that box under your TV with the same controller, it's just getting old. Like is because especially if the creators or the developers cannot find a new creative way to use it. And then even if it's in place for them to use it, if all three developers are not on board or console creators are not on board, they're going to cop out. They're just not going to use it. So, and I think I saw a video. I wasn't quite sure where they were going to go with it. This guy was saying how the Xbox controller is holding gaming back, and I was like, "What sense does that make?" But he was saying in a way to where both the Switch and the PlayStation 5 have gyro. The Xbox doesn't. And the way he was putting it was like, as long as somebody's not doing it, the developers are just not going to participate, like in full.
Well, you got to make them do it.
You got to make them do.
They just standardized Bluetooth, man.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I know. Like, and that's my problem with gaming space in general. The fans aside, you have three major hitters right now, and out of all three, somebody's behind somewhere. But in reality, you can see one is like, okay, we know what's more important when we talk about being creative. You can just look at Echoes of Wisdom, like that just released. That is a creative ass game. Hi-Fi Rush was a creative ass game. Where did that end up? Like that company's gone now. So now then
that's so sad, man.
But it's like the creativity should be there. The hardware in itself should be there because even if we talk about these companies going third party, the games going to different consoles, what should sell you is what can that console do that the other ones can't do. I've always said, like, as much as Xbox catches hell, quick resume is on point. The fact that they have the ability for me to say, okay, I'm gonna pick up, let's say I'm gonna pick up Sparking Zero when it comes out. I can pre-download that to my console, so then when I get the game, I'm already playing it. I don't have to spend my first day doing downloads and updates. Like that is an amazing feature that most people probably don't use. And so, and then whether you want to talk about cloud, you want to talk about Game Pass, these are features that are on their console that you can't get anywhere else. So you can say all you want to of, oh, Indiana Jones may be coming in December, but it's coming to PS5 later on. The fact that if I have Game Pass, I can play that day one and I play it first. That's what they're promising you. So these consoles need to get to a point of, yes, you may have my game, but you can't do it like I do it on my console. Yeah. And that's solely where the issue comes in. But yeah, the comparisons and, you know, the secondary and primary, I don't think Nintendo really cares if they're primary or not. Like, I really don't think they care.
Nintendo competes with themselves. They don't care about,
because they know Sony and Microsoft can't keep up. And even if you say like, okay, well, they're not trying to compete. We've seen every generation they've tried to give some small iteration of what Nintendo was doing to try to say, okay, well, we tried. Like this generation, where do you think the PlayStation Portal came from?
Yeah,
it wasn't out of a clear blue sky. Like people saw that portability factor. Steam Deck popped up behind that. ROG Ally popped up behind that. The Legion Go, all these AY or Neo consoles, like all that stuff popped up behind Nintendo.
Yep.
It happens for a reason. Last generation, we got Smart Glass.
Yep.
From last generation. Before then, them stupid connecting the PS Move controllers because of the Wii. Like, it's because of Nintendo. Like, swear it is, man.
They don't want to admit it, but I mean, you know, it's a serious form of flattery. So, you know, that's what they'll do. They won't admit it, but you just look at the actions. Just look at the actions and go from there. And I would say that extends to game design as well. And I think Sony and Microsoft kind of understood at least what Nintendo was doing then at the time too, because they kind of jumped to that as well. Whereas even though Xbox One and PS4 had quick resume to some extent, Nintendo has it but doesn't have it because they use RAM in such a way where you just turn the system off.
Mm-hmm.
You turn it back on, and you go right back to whatever the hell you was doing. And
Yeah.
that being able to do that, whether you're plugged up to a TV or out in the wilderness, is just to this day. I don't even think you can do it somewhat with the PlayStation Portal, because that's the quick resume. Technically, the PS5 is doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, that's not something you can do. Just like touch and go, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a thing, and I hope that Nintendo stays on top of this. I think Macronix is still their partner, but getting those games offline as well.
Mm-hmm.
To be able, like, you're on a cart, it doesn't matter, like there's no installs, no nothing, we're running straight off the cart and you're playing the game. So hopefully they still have that going. I swear to God, I will be the first person complaining if launch day I'm installing games on whatever Switch's successor is.
That's gonna
You heard it here first. I'll be the first person. I'm gonna be dragging Nintendo day one. Like, this is the one thing you had above these other platforms, and you gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you chase them on this? You don't want installs. Like, no. Like, what are you doing?
You don't want 90 gig games either. You don't want that.
Nope.
So you don't want that. All right, this is the last question we're gonna have because we kind of run a little over. This one comes from FL21
You're gonna get
ID.
in trouble because Vicky asked about her question. Ooh, you gonna get in trouble.
Does Bandai Namco have no choice? Does Bandai Namco have no choice but to support the next Nintendo console due to losing $52 million on their failure of their online game? And is it game over for Ubisoft? They just recently lost 17% of their stock. Okay, so the Ubisoft one, no, it's not game over for them. It's not going to be game over for them. They're not hemorrhaging money like Square Enix and some of the rest of them. So
for Ubisoft, this is a small setback. If they get themselves back on track, they'll be fine.
Yeah, because Prince of Persia did well for them this year.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna be, in that bad of a situation. Now, Bandai Namco should have been doing that forever anyway. I don't know why they stopped.
Because someone got in their ear and said, "Nah, you need to go ahead and try to focus on Sony and Microsoft." I was like, why didn't you focus on Nintendo for day one for these games? Yeah. Knowing the audiences, they're going to sell better on Nintendo and PlayStation. Xbox, not so much.
Yeah. So, I look at stuff like the Tales of series, Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur 2 with Link is the best-selling one they did. And you mean to tell me you can't put one past Soul Calibur Legends, which wasn't really a fighting game. It was more like a weird hack and slash game.
It was closer to more like a Warriors type game, but not so much.
Yeah, that's why I say it was like hack and slash.
It was close.
Yeah. So you don't even, and then on top of that, the best one, you do Soul Calibur 2 online HD, but you don't bring it to the Nintendo console, which makes no sense from a business standpoint. It makes no sense.
That was one of them backdoor deals.
Yeah, I understand Sony and Microsoft are gonna be mad, but that's not your fault. Ain't nobody tell them not to have no doggone exclusive character. That's them. They chose to let go of their mascot. Yeah. They chose to let go of their mascots. That's not your fault. So
I do believe that Switch's successor has effectively ended. Well, Switch for the most part did it, but now it is going to be set in stone. It has ended the hidden exclusive deals that Sony has had in Japan.
Let's hope so.
Look, what killed that was Jim Ryan constantly crying. That's what killed that.
I mean, there's that
denying Jim Ryan.
Yeah, because if he had shut his mouth, we wouldn't have known about half that stuff. If he had shut his mouth,
we wouldn't have
got confirmation.
Would have speculated. Yeah.
But he kept running his mouth, and I'm like, dude, you do realize every time you go to the FTC, they're gonna be looking at you too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why y'all saw how quick we got Tales Symphony Remastered. Now we're getting Grace's Elf. Now we're getting all these other stuff that couldn't play. I'm like, just couldn't. This is out of Bandai Namco mouth. That's why I ain't never pick up Kakarot, because they said Kakarot couldn't be played on the Switch.
Interesting.
I thought that was weird because I was like, it looks like the same engine y'all been using.
It was. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, I'm not even going. And I love Dragon Ball, but I'm like, I'm not picking it up because
Yeah.
you shouldn't have lied. Tell the truth.
Yeah, these
But
publishers,
I
man, they
remember
say
they
whatever
said
they say.
fighters couldn't run. I was like, there's no way in the world.
Man,
That's-
hell,
no way.
There ain't no way.
You already got Guilty Gear on there. What you mean?
And now we're getting Guilty Gear Strive in January. I'm like, why is this coming to
It's like
Switch?
it's the same engine as the previous game. What makes you think it can't work? That's why I'm mad at Capcom about the daggone cloud versions of Resident Evil Remake 2
Yeah,
and
like-
3.
Oh, Square with Kingdom Hearts.
And then Square has the nerve to say, well, we'll put it on if y'all ask. No.
No.
Nobody
That's
port
not how
game.
this works. That's not how this works. I'm not begging you for nothing. That's not how this works. Y'all should have had that ported to the Wii U. To be honest.
You put it on the system. It's a good version for that system. Then people buy it. Period.
Yeah. I shouldn't have to beg you to put. You shouldn't even be telling me
Remember,
to
Ed
beg
Boon
you.
learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you shouldn't be telling me to beg you either. Oh, Ed Boon, that joke was funny. I don't see Smash being like Smash is a doggone exclusive game. What are you talking about, dude?
Mortal Kombat was never exclusive to one platform.
It
No.
never
It was
was.
never exclusive to one platform.
You had 5 on the GameCube. You had 4 on the N64. You've had 3 on SNES.
SNES and 64 because
Yeah.
Ultimate.
This
Ultimate,
is anecdotal experience, but based on what I've seen in and out of stores and rentals and stuff like that at the time, the Super Nintendo version of Mortal Kombat 2 was probably the best selling version of that game.
Yeah, more than likely.
Just keeping it above because
More than
it's
likely.
hey, Nintendo version has the blood. Everybody wanted to see it, so it was there. The blood, it has the blood now,
And
No
it wasn't
codes.
green. It wasn't green. It was red.
But you had the option to make it green if you wanted.
Yep, that's true. You did have that option.
So it's one of those things where I like, well, what? How are you all of a sudden magically not knowing? Like, you supported GameCube and Wii. I mean, all the way up to Armageddon. So, like, why are you magically now? And you used the Mortal Kombat engine on Wii U because you had Injustice on there.
Yep.
So what are we talking about here? It's just the strangest stuff, man. The excuses they come up with is just odd to me. And Wii U had like the most M-rated games at launch than any other system in history.
True.
So I don't. It's not to say that. I mean, we launched with Manhunt 2. Like, you're literally using motion controls to dismember people.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. So what do we? I never understood the hey, let's run back to this is the kiddie audience argument. It didn't work with GameCube, and obviously didn't work with Wii. So
it didn't
why
work
are
with
you
N64. It didn't work with N64 when they tried to do it with N64, and then you have Conquer.
The problem is when people hear family, for some reason their mind goes to kitty, but you forget the family has the kids, has the mother, the father. The family is more than just one person. Everybody has different tastes in the family, so you're going to have somebody that wants the more whimsical stuff, and you're going to have somebody that's going to want blood and guts.
Even with that though, it's so selective nitpicking though. Because today, Astrobot is PS5 a kiddie system?
No, that wouldn't make it a kiddie system.
7th generation. Everybody was playing Connect Sports. Clearly, these avatars are cartoony. They're made by Rare. Is this the same Call of Duty system? Or is this a kiddie system? What are we doing? Like, I mean, Cameo was a launch game. This is a fairy game? It's a fairy game on an Xbox platform. So is this a fairy system? This is for the
Bug Snacks.
Yeah, it's what we
Bug
doing.
Snacks was the main one. Yeah.
So is this a weeaboo system? What are we doing? So if you're gonna be that selectively obtuse for those platforms, you could do the same for Nintendo platforms because the same platform that has Mario also has Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she's in Smash.
Yep.
So it's I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's all related to business, and they're just gonna use whatever buzzwords they can at the time. There's gonna be something Nintendo, quote unquote, doesn't have or doesn't market enough. A lot of times it's something that Nintendo doesn't market enough, and they still do. And they'll just say they don't do it because Nintendo doesn't market it or whatever. And that'll be the thing, because the whole goal is they did not want them there. They wanted them gone. I don't know. I think Sandstorm was on that podcast when I played the video when Parent Capital was like, yeah, they don't want us here. All the publishers they want us gone. They don't want Nintendo to be part of the industry anymore.
Which I'm curious as to why. I mean, I understood the days of old because of how things were, but now
currently it doesn't make any sense.
We were at the time we were talking 6th generation GameCube going over to Wii.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
It wasn't the old Nintendo tirade, Iron Fist, whatever things. It was at the time things were going in a way where the capitalism was starting to take over, and Nintendo didn't want to be a part of that. They didn't want to do the big business deals and have the big publisher taking over everything and all that. Hey, come do this marketing deal with us to do X, Y, and Z. And they're like, no, pay your licensing fee, self-publish your game on there, and keep it moving. It's not our job to do that. You saw the platform. Do you like it? Well, buy a development kit.
Yep. Take your broke asses on somewhere.
You have a publisher. You have a publisher. So that's just that was the thing at the time, and that's why they didn't like Nintendo at the time, because they were like, no, this is our system. We pitched it to you already. Go buy the development kit and get out there, and don't cry to us when it doesn't sell, because you got to compete with our games on this platform.
I mean, Rare did it.
Yeah. Rare did it with a smile on their face.
Rareware went at EAD neck and neck to the point where Miyamoto got mad, like, oh no, they're not gonna outdo me. So like, dude, like, this is like, they had a rivalry. The Stamper brothers even talked about it, like, yeah, dude, we pushed each other.
But now everybody uses the cop out now of like, well, they only buy Nintendo first party games,
which is
they
not
use
true.
that cop out. It's not true.
Yeah, it's not true. It's like, but if you make your game good, it's gonna get bought. Prince of Persia, Lost Crown got bought.
Yeah,
on the
Switch. Like, dude, it will get bought if you do what you're supposed to do. Like all those Legend of Heroes games, the Trails of games. A lot of them, NIS is moving money on Switch. It's not because they're not. Because if they weren't moving it, Yeast and Renatus and any of them other games wouldn't be coming.
And we don't want to hear the excuses about it not being in your wheelhouse, EA. About Summer Wheel, matter of fact, that I shouted them out in the chat. But Animal Crossing sold 30 million in less than a year on one platform.
Because right now it's at 45.8. How in the world is Animal Crossing at $45.8 million sold?
Just imagine what Sims 5 would have done on Switch.
There are a lot of people who play Sims that would pick it up on Switch.
But we even said too, there is a market that's wide open that, in a way, Nintendo gonna eat up, because everybody want to be hard headed, and that's that first person shooting area.
Yeah,
and like Call of Duty could have been had it, and then now with EA saying that they're bringing Battlefront back, come to Nintendo, be the first one there, be the only one.
Here's the funny thing about that, like Black Ops 2 on Wii U. People got mad, and Shadow, you can attest to this, because we played like 4 or 5 matches one time.
Nobody wanted that smoke.
People got mad because we were using Wii Remote and Chuck.
Nobody wanted that smoke.
Nah, they bring that back. No. It's game
over.
It's over. They bring that back. It's game over, especially if they start implementing crossplay. You're going to have mouse and keyboard and Wii Remote and Chuck running things.
Yep. Because people, you knew who was using the controller and who was using the remote and truck.
Yeah.
Because the people that was using the controller was mad, talking about y'all cheating. Like, no, we're not.
No.
We're using Wii Remote and Chuck. I'm using
I
my Wii Remote.
I will always say your natural reflexes are going to be faster than button presses.
Yeah.
Button presses are going to be quick because they're button presses, but you still
all I gotta do is this
stick.
Yep.
When all
You
you gotta do
move
is just
faster
flick.
than the stick does. You move faster than the artificial turning in the system
Me,
does.
me doing this, there's zero translation. Me doing this, moving this stick, there's a lot of translation there. I have to orient my thumb to whatever I think my eyes see in front of me versus I can close my eyes and I know what I'm doing with this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that advantage there is that's stellar.
When all you gotta do is flick to throw the grenade.
That's it.
That's
Pull
all you
your hand
gotta
up.
do.
So, quick question for y'all, real quick. When we talk about things that people hate with Nintendo, what side of the fence are y'all on as far as analog versus digital triggers?
I prefer analog, but y'all know I don't like clickable sticks. That junk just get
Okay.
on my damn nerves. I would rather you have like the paddles on, like all controllers now have the paddles on the bottom
paddles
or
on the
something.
back.
Just do that because like that shit is because if you're playing and you don't cut it off, you can easily accidentally just if you're just flick, you can easily just accidentally do. I've done that so many times. That's why I cut it off. I'm like, that's
Okay.
We're talking about shooters, right? We're not talking about driving.
I'm just talking about in general, as far as
in general, I cut the
controller.
damn thing off.
So I could play driving games any type of way. I could play either with the analog triggers or I'll just play with a button. Like I don't need. It doesn't matter to me. I would prefer an analog stick at least to steer, but I don't need to have it. I can feather a D-pad if I need to.
Yeah.
No, if you give me a D-pad with gyro with it, I'm just gonna steer.
Yeah, because the reason why I bring it up,
buttons.
because I mean, when we talk about like when you look at these 3D renders to where the Joy-Con still have the clickable ZLZR, I'm looking at this as like, okay, how many games take advantage of the actual analog, back triggers? Because I mean, if you think about racers and shooters, that's kind of where it stops. Like no one's really using the different like actuation points, and let's say like Astro on the PS5. But like for example, my son playing Warzone, like I said, we got lucky enough to get that Elite controller for that used Xbox. Don't know how that happened, but it is what it is. But he changes it all the way to the bottom setting, so that way he doesn't have to fully press it anymore. It's just a quick press of the button, and so it's a faster shot.
It seems like it's only for single player mode because everybody disables that when you go in a lobby.
Okay,
is what I've been, especially for PS5. Nobody wants you go in, you're playing, and you get resistance to shoot because it's simulating. Nobody wants that,
right?
So they disable that in the lobby.
I've never understood that. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to shoot a real good. This is a video game.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't need the realism of my trigger jamming. I don't need that. I do not need that.
Well, cool. Yeah, I don't need it.
No, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win this capture the flag. I ain't trying to. No. The devil is a lie. No.
now there are games where like analog trigger can be good because what game was that? Time Splitters used it pretty well. It just, I guess it depends on the implementation of the game. As far as like how it's used for like the intensity of a throw, like if you're throwing a grenade or something like that. Like that's the only thing I can really think of.
The way that people complain about it, you would think it was used in every game, and I know for a fact that it's only used in shooters and racers.
Racer game for the most part.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So, and to create immersion, like if you're playing a single player game or something. Right. So like, I'm going over this hill and it feels like the trigger is vibrating while I walk. That kind of stuff. That's about it, really.
Yeah, I don't really need that either. But all right, people, that's gonna do it for tonight's episode. Thank you to everybody who asked questions. We really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody in the chat for coming through and hanging out with us. Jack, anything you want to pimp out?
No, not really, man. Just follow everybody here. As far as the music is concerned, we don't have a date yet, but we'll continue dropping snippets. I have one more feature to clear, and once that feature clears, then I can actually announce who all collabed on this album. The other day I did all the producers, and then also my cousin that did the artwork for the album cover. But as far as gaming is concerned, nothing really right now. It'd be kind of hard to do any type of streaming at all with a brand new baby in the house. It'd be a lot of pausing. So that's a no-go. But I'll try to do some talking points with all of these thousands of Switch rumor videos. Is getting freaking annoying. But just kind of give my input on what I think it should be versus what I think it will be. That'll probably be a quick little video, but yeah, that's about it, man.
All right, Andre.
I mean, I kept my promise from last week that 3 videos ended up on the channel, even though one of them was the Q&A question thing. But yeah, you just check those out. And on the thing of the rumors for the successor, I have taken notice that a lot of those rumors sound very much like the things that I said that I would like.
Of
And
course.
it's weird. It's weird that keeps happening. And then I realized that I can't see everybody that's viewing my videos, but I notice my video views go up during certain periods of time and come back. People have now these rumors that sound a lot like things I've said over 2 years ago.
I'll
how that
say
happens.
this. Stream once. Just stream once and stream to YouTube once, and it will tell you who your subscribers are.
I already did that
in
one.
analytics. I was about to say it'll let you know then. It'll let you know who's joining.
Yeah, when the stream is live, but after it's the video
After that,
on demand, you don't get that info. So I'm like, all these oddly familiar sounding things. Like, look, if y'all gonna steal my ideas, at least cut me a check and slide it under the table.
Something.
Capcom is not gonna pay you, man.
Pay me on the side.
Take me on the date first.
Capcom's main man that was following me left the company. He doing his own thing now. So
too funny. All right, Shadow, man. What about you?
Channel's not dead, guys. So y'all can check me out this week for real. Like for real. I had to step away for a little bit because I had to be gal, go home, be a family man, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of vacation time and time to reflect and all that. And y'all will see some stuff pretty soon. Like, no, for real. Seriously, this week. So
all right, cool.
That's what's up.
All right. There's gonna probably be a couple of press start videos coming out this week. I think I'm gonna do, since Darksiders 2 getting another edition on PS5, I'll probably just put in the opening of the definitive edition of Darksiders 2. I love the Darksiders franchise. I'm waiting to see what that teaser was that they did a couple months ago for 4. Hopefully we see something more on that later. I thought they were gonna do something at Tokyo Game Show, but they didn't. So there's that. Yeah, I probably got a couple of press start videos coming. Fresh Take should be back next Sunday. We'll be doing the season finale of Ring of Power season 2, and probably talking about Agatha All Along, first 4 episodes. So that'll be next Sunday at 6. Other than that, don't really have anything. Once again, as I said, thank you guys for showing up and coming through in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for everybody who asked questions. We also very much appreciate it. And we will see you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out, people.
Peace.
Later, y'all.